Hey, what's up? This is Gary Swaby, and you're now listening to episode 95 of the Co-op podcast on thecoalition.com. And today I'm here with a few people. I'm here with editor-in-chief Richard Bailey. What's up, Richard?
Yes, what's up? What's up, listeners and viewers? How's it going?
Good, good. And I'm also here with Michael A, of course. What's up, Mike? Okay, silence.
Technical
Silence.
difficulty.
And surprise, surprise, we're also here with Edward Velasquez. Now, I mean, we've had like loads of people like Magnum ask where he is. We finally got him back for, this episode. We can't guarantee he'll be here next week, but he's here today. So what's up, Ed?
What's up? Good to be back. I was gonna hold out for episode 100, but people want it, so I gotta rep that Xbox because I know this show needs it. Y'all been treating it bad. Just because I'm gone don't mean I don't listen. Y'all been pissing me off, so I gotta get on.
Man, you ain't been listening to this shit. Stop lying.
Yeah, no, I have not. I haven't.
But yeah, that's the cast. So we're gonna get straight into what we've been playing because we got loads of topics to get through. So Richard, what have you been playing?
Oh, okay. Well, for the most part, I've been playing a lot of NBA 2K15. Um, you know, the game looks great graphically. The gameplay is pretty much the same as it was last year. It has a couple of issues in it. They do have this face scan technology which allows you to scan your face and have it appear on players, which is cool, but it wasn't working for me when I
Yeah,
first tried.
I heard loads of people are having issues with that. Did you try it with natural light? Because apparently it doesn't work so well, like in
Uh,
dark
well,
spots.
yeah, I tried it with natural light. Still had issues. I just got frustrated to the point where I said, "Well, screw this. Let me just use a generic player that they already have and call it a day." Um, I mean, the game is good. They did change up the career mode this time, where instead of you being in the draft, you are basically an undrafted player, and you have to sign 10-day contracts until you are able to actually stay with a team. It's like a little story mode that they have with cutscenes and everything. So it's cool. The game is good, but it still has its issues. Some of the same issues they had last year when certain plays, certain things you do in the game can just, go crazy at any time. Passes getting thrown out, stuff like that. Just little technical hiccups here and there, but still a good game. Not amazing, but 2K needs to iron out some of the issues they got with the game overall. Um, but yeah, I've been playing that. That's pretty much all I've been playing. I just now got Sunset Overdrive, but I unfortunately can't talk about that, and I can't talk about it anyway because it's downloading right now. But I'll have something to say about that next week. Um, but yeah, that's it for now.
Cool, cool. I'm interested to hear what you got to say about Sunset Overdrive. So I can't wait for your opinions on that. But me personally, let's get me out the way because I've pretty much only been playing Destiny. I mean, that's just my go-to game at the moment. I'm still hooked on that. I love games where you have to grind to get the best equipment and everything. I still haven't even done the raid yet because, like, I want a real six-man team. Like, I want people I can talk to and everything. Like, I want everyone to be talking and stuff. So finding that is kind of difficult, getting six people together and stuff. But I hope to do that at some point. I need to do the Nightfall as well. I'm just having fun doing, bounties, Crucible, all the daily and the weekly stuff. Like I just find it's addictive for me. So yeah, I even made new characters as well. I finally made a Titan and I got that to level 19 now. So yeah, I've been going hard on Destiny. That's my go-to game. I played a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, and of course Final Fantasy 13 on PC. If you haven't already, go check my run on that because I was very disappointed in how Square Enix ported that game to PC. Like it's terrible. But yeah, moving on to Edward Velasquez, what have you been playing?
Same like you. I've been playing Destiny. I never got a chance to talk about it on the show. But honestly, at first I really liked Destiny. I know some people were criticizing even on the show, but I was liking it. But then I reached the point. I guess I reached the point where everybody gets disappointed with a game, where I didn't even realize it, but I beat the fucking game, and I was like, that's it? Like, really? That's fucking it? Um, so I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, now that I'm done with it, well, I'm not done with it, but now that I've, put some hours into that game, I'm kind of disappointed. Like, I thought it was going to be a totally different game where, I'm like literally going around planets and open world and stuff like that. I guess in some way it is that, but it's not. And I think that's really fucking lame. And I think I'm at level 20 now where I have to do something with light in order to level up. I haven't really played it much now, but I don't know. I wish that game was something else. But yeah, so
Yeah,
that's as far as Destiny goes. And I've been playing a little bit of the multiplayer, the competitive stuff, but it hasn't really pulled me in yet. But yeah, that's Destiny for me. And I also been playing a lot of Forza Horizon. Not as much as I would like, but I fucking love that game. Um, that's a game where like you literally just race, and that's all I want from a racing game. I don't really care for all this like buy these parts and then tune the car and all this shit. Like in Forza Horizon, I can literally buy a car for whatever class I'm about to race and just drive it stock and actually win and stuff. And I like that. And I like driving around the little, European uh, landscape that they have, and it's pretty cool. I really like Forza Horizon. Definitely one of my top games of the year so far.
you should try Drive Club.
I should not try to drive Club. I'm sorry, but fucking Horizon just shits on Drive Club like in every aspect. And then that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get. I'm not sure if I'm getting Sunset Overdrive or not. Um, I don't know much about that game, really, really, but I might get it eventually. So I'm kind of interested to. I'm definitely gonna talk to Rich after this show, get some insights. But yeah, that's as far as gaming. Kind of just waiting off on that Halo collection. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it
What,
for me.
what other games are you looking out for this year? Like, is it just Halo, or are you interested in Call of Duty, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, anything else at all?
I've lost touch of what comes out when, especially with delays happening and stuff.
Uh-oh.
I know I want Halo. Um, that's pretty much it, bro. Like that's the only game I know.
Okay. Michael A, are
I'm
you? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm not interested in Far Cry. To me, that game looks weak.
Yeah, I played a Eurogamer. It just seems like a repeat of Far Cry 3, but
Yeah.
yeah. Michael A, are you there at the moment?
Yeah, hello? You guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
we
hear
hear
you.
you.
Excellent.
Yeah, sorry about that. Nice
Yeah.
Google Hangout update or something. I don't know.
Okay,
So,
well, good to have you back. What have you been playing? Oh,
Been playing
technical
the
difficulties.
disconnect game. Yes.
So yeah, I guess we'll get back to him later. Um, so let's just get into our topics. So the first topic, very briefly, I wanted to mention the PlayStation TV because it launched in North America, and there was actually some difficulties with the system upon launch. A lot of the games that they advertised to work, on the system actually weren't compatible and didn't work. And on top of that, they market this thing as like an Apple TV kind of device, but Netflix didn't work. Like simple stuff like Netflix did not work when the product launched and everything. So yeah, I wanted to get you guys' take on that. Ed would be the perfect person to talk about this because I know he'll have a lot to say. So Eddie, what do you think about that? Is that a fail?
Um, about what now? About the PSTV?
Yeah, the PSTV thing, that it's supposed to play like Vita games. It's got PlayStation Now on there. You can play apps on there and stuff. It hooks up to your TV basically. It's like you know, a
Yeah,
lot of
I've heard.
Apple device.
I don't know. I guess I mean, what else could be expected from a Sony product? You know, you buy it and it don't work, and you have no use for it, and then you realize, why did I buy this? But you know, to me, PSTV was always like just a product that's like you don't need it, man. Like it just exists, and sure, it might come to some convenience for some people, but nobody needs this shit, man.
Yeah,
Just
I
put
think
your PS4.
I think it's for
Oh,
people who don't even want a console, to be honest. Like they want to play
look,
games casually, but like not enough to get a console. So I think like this is for those people. But
So this is
I
great
just
for Jenny.
there you go with the shots.
oh,
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how successful it
oh.
will be.
Yeah, that's a bit much. That's a bit much.
All
I
right,
would
I'll
like
quit.
I would like to say something about
Go ahead, Rich.
now. Didn't this already launch in Japan or wherever else it was? I thought this already launched elsewhere.
Yes, it already launched in Japan. So,
So they had an opportunity right then and there. I mean, to me, that's unacceptable for it to launch here and have all these issues because they should have had enough time to think about this stuff before they went ahead and started launching this product. In my opinion,
yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they could launch a product and, like that, and a simple thing like Netflix and, certain games that they advertise don't work. Like, it kind of is a fail. Now, I don't know if it's been fixed since then, because I think it launched earlier this week. So they might have fixed, worked out all the kinks and fixed it by now. But, still, all of that should have been working day one. Michael A., you there?
Yeah, I just did it on my phone. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Can you guys actually hear me or no?
Yeah, we hear
oh,
you.
yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay.
Are you good now?
Um, yeah, I'm good. My phone will be fine.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, before I ask you about the topic, what have you been playing? Because I know you had some things to say.
Oh, yeah, like Ed, I've been playing tons of Forza Horizon 2. I love that game. Shadow of Mordor. I'm 50% done with this campaign, but that's because I keep getting distracted by the side missions, and revenge killing captains and trying to manipulate who's in charge of the Uruk society and all that jazz. I've done like pretty much all the power struggles to the point where I've gotten to the max level, but I keep doing them. Um, I got Evil Within. I've been playing that. I'm on chapter 7. I'm really enjoying the game so far. Um, yeah, that's about it. And Killer Instinct Season 2 came out, so I'm just going in the lab with TJ Combo. That's actually what I was doing before I came on here. I was streaming myself in the lab with TJ Combo, and I'll probably do that after the gym after this. So that's pretty
Man,
much it.
That
I gotta
sounds cool.
I gotta get that killer instinct.
Yeah, I need to get Season 2. Like I think TJ Combo is a character everyone gets to use for this week. That's why that's why I'm using. Um,
I got
but
you.
yeah, I need to herb and cop that. So.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you think of the Evil Within? Because it's got a lot of mixed reviews, sort of. I mean, I see a lot of eights, so it's not that bad. But
I
what are your
like it.
thoughts?
I think it's a homage to the old school kind of horror thriller games. With like with updated controls. The controls are nowhere near as bad as they used to be back in the day, obviously. Um, and there's some elements of like Silent Hill and Resident Evil and whatnot in it. But then there's things from like there's like elements from Alan Wake in the game and whatnot, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's just like they took bits and pieces from here and there. I like the story. The story is very well done so far, and the way it's told to you over time, and just like the plot in general. I really like. I like the game. I don't have any real complaints about it actually. I've ran into some
And
issues, some clipping issues where like my character was like when I died once, my character's head, and you can see outside of the game space. And then there's the one, and they always have this in games like this where there's co-op, or not co-op. There's a partner that's AI controlled, and they get stuck on something and they run in place. Oh my lord! He got stuck on a chest and he was just running in place, and then I had to go do a boss fight by myself, and I died. But I figured it out. I got luckily when it respawned, he wasn't stuck anymore, so I was able to do it. But other than
I have
those
a
two things, yeah, I like the game.
quick question. Is that game, I mean, I know it's typical for like horror games, but is this
Yeah.
game, does it play slow? Like, do you walk
It
slow or do you...
it can. You can literally like unlike in the other games where your default walk speed is slow. In this game, what they decided to do was there's a sneak mechanic where you crouch and kind of stealthily move around because you don't want to be detected by the creatures. Um, there's the standard two options when opening a door. You can open it slowly, or you could just double tap A and or I think it's X on PS4 and kick the door open if you're just trying to run through an area or run away from someone. There is sprint. Your character can sprint. I mean, the controls are somewhat similar to Resident Evil 6 and 4. Like those two games merged together, basically. Except the gameplay is much more solid than Resident Evil 6 was. But you can play the game at a faster pace if you want. Only thing with that is if you play on a higher difficulty, you'll have less ammo. So
Yeah.
running around and just being Rambo might not be an option when you don't have any bullets, or you're literally conserving bullets and trying to use the environment to kill the monsters. It'd be a lot more difficult doing it then. But yeah, it's an option.
Cool, sounds good. So, the topic we were discussing when you came back was the PlayStation TV. The device launched in North America this week, and there was some problems upon launch where some games that were advertised to work actually aren't compatible with the device, and also the Netflix wasn't working. And this is a device that's kind of seen as an Apple TV type thing. It's like a competitor for Apple TV and those devices. So, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts? Oh, we lost him again. Never mind. So, yeah, I guess we'll move on to the next topic. I wasted all that time redescribing the topic, but oh well. Gran Turismo 7 is coming to PS4 in either 2015 or 2016. Polyphony, the lead developer, I think, of Polyphony, is the one that confirmed this. And he also said that the PS3 was harder to develop for, and that was why it was such a long cycle, with the Gran Turismo games coming out on that system. But now with the PS4, it seems like the development process is a lot smoother for them. So we might actually see more Gran Turismo games, this generation. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I just want to know, is that really a good thing, though, to see more of them? Especially since Sony is, and I'm not saying that as if Gran Turismo is a bad game. I say that more along the terms of the fact that Sony's just launched Drive Club. This is supposed to be like a new Sony IP for racing to kind of give like an alternate, hybrid simulation arcade style racing. So if
Well,
you have more Gran Turismo games come out, I mean, I know it's not a direct competitor, but people are going to lean toward Gran Turismo because it has the esteem, it has the history and tradition, and the consistent quality they look for. And I don't think that. I mean, we already had a lot of Gran Turismos coming out. There was Gran Turismo, then there's the prologue games that came out and whatnot that were basically paid demos. So now instead of doing that, what they're going to basically do is say that in a PS4 lifespan, instead of seeing maybe two main Gran Turismos, we might see four.
Well, I think what they'll do is, just to piggyback off what you said, I think they might alternate the Drive Club and the Gran Turismo series. Like, even though they're different developers and stuff, I could see them doing that to try and compete with what Forza's doing.
With Horizon, yeah, that could make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's really a good thing because Gran Turismo. I never saw Gran Turismo as a game that didn't come out enough anyway. So I mean, I guess if they want to squeak out one more game a gen, that's just more sales for them. So in terms of financial analytics, yeah, it makes sense. I'm just thinking in terms of what they're going to offer gamers. I don't know.
I mean, in terms of quality, what do you guys think about what the developer said? Because he said, the development process is gonna be a lot more smoother. So, the biggest criticism of Gran Turismo 5, and to be honest, I don't even know what Gran Turismo 6 is like. I never heard anything about it. But they had to reuse a lot of old models for the cars and stuff, like from the PS2, I believe, like, and they just upscaled them. There were premium ones that they rebuilt and stuff, but it wasn't all of the cars. So it seems like with this time around, they're gonna go like from the ground up and just recreate everything in high res, for the PS4 and everything, and fully utilize the console. So in terms of quality, do you guys think that this next Gran Turismo will be the game that can stand up to Forza?
It
Well,
definitely can, but I feel like that series has kind of lost its steam. Think, I think people do recognize the name and stuff, and the quality that it brought to that type of game. But you know, if you don't see something for so long, you kind of a part of you does forget. And with what Forza's doing and Turn 10, they're just they're consistent, and they put out a quality product almost like what every other year. Uh, so I don't know. I think kind of Gran Turismo has kind of lost its steam,
oh,
and especially for that console. I don't think PlayStation gamers are like into that no more. I think they kind of elevated to another type of game level.
I mean, I think there has been a lack of good car games recently, though, because I mean, you get stuff like Need for Speed, The Crew, and all that, but some
the
people do want to play more serious driving games too, and there is a serious lack of them. So, I mean, I think it's great that Gran Turismo is coming back, personally, for next gen. I mean, I know Gran Turismo 6 came out last year, but it was bad timing because it launched around the new console releases, and it wasn't even next gen. So, that was incredibly bad timing for them.
But like to be honest, like I mean, when you think of Gran Turismo as a series, you think of one, two, and three. I don't even remember four, five, and six coming out. Like seriously, like I didn't know they were at seven already. The last one I remember was that prologue shit.
You don't
yeah,
remember 5 coming out?
No, I seriously don't. I'm not trying to diss nothing. I'm just the last one I remember was I remember Gran Turismo 3 because I played that on PlayStation 2 a lot, and the prologue one, and that's it.
that's I wanted to say something about the prologue. I believe that prologue, that is what started them on the downhill, because that
Yeah,
wasn't
that
what wasn't the full game. It was just this is a sampler for now, and that's not how you want to come out the gates. Um, should have tried to finish the game and then release the game as it was supposed to be. But that's why I say, when I saw it, this said Gran Turismo 7, 2016, 15 or 16. I was like, okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean if it doesn't come out in 15 that they will rush and make a little demo for people to play, like they did Prologue, and then release the game in 2016? I was confused by that. Um,
See, I think the main reason they did the prologue last time for Gran Turismo 5 was just because of exactly what he said about, the development. I think they had a hard time developing on PS3. They had a fan base that was waiting for them to drop something, and they
mhm.
thought, you know what, let's drop this prologue. It will be easier for us to just put this out there for now, and then, take the time to perfect this. Well, not perfect because it wasn't perfect, but like, to do Gran Turismo 5 to the best of our ability. So I think that might have been part of the complication while we saw, the prologue. In the article I read, the developer, he didn't really mention anything about a prologue. Like he said straight up, Gran Turismo 7 is coming out next year or the year after. So
I got you. I got you. Well, I just have one final question about this. So you said, does it have what it takes to compete against Forza? Is that game like are those Gran Turismo games like Forza Horizon, where it's atmospheric, it's a whole bunch of
Not
stuff?
Horizon. They're not like. They're
Oh,
more
Gran.
just like more.
They're
They're
more like
more like
motorsport,
yeah,
Forza
motorsport.
Motorsport. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Well, maybe it can, but personally, I prefer Horizon now because it's just a fun game. But we'll see.
Even with, oh, sorry. I was saying, even with like regular Forza, I believe regular Forza, or I shouldn't even say regular Forza Motorsport, it offers more than Gran Turismo does, and it pretty much always has. Like when it came out the gate, it's like we're gonna give you realistic physics. We're gonna act like real realistic physics, not bumper car racing. We're going to give you car damage that actually not is just cosmetic. It can affect the racing if you want to. We're going to give you the ability to tune cars custom and sell it to people. We're going to give you the ability to make custom decals and sell those to people. Like, you'd be shocked how many people just play Forza and they don't even drive. They play Forza and do all these other things. You can't really do that with a game like Gran Turismo. If you're buying Gran Turismo, you're driving. And I'm not saying that isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's kind of limited. So it does. I don't think it can appeal to as many people. Right now, I think Gran Turismo is selling on name alone, and not in a bad way. It's earned that name through quality, consistent quality. But I mean, it's kind of lapsed in terms of progressing the system and progressing the game forward. And even Forza, the thing it was lacking was day-night shifting and weather effects, and we have that in Horizon 2 now. So I mean, what else is there really to knock Forza for? I will say that there's not a whole lot of simulation racing IPs now, but I mean we have Project Cars coming, and that's going to be multi-platform. So I think that could really shake things up with its quality. I think GT, and unfortunately, I think that's going to hurt GT because if GT had nothing to go against it, it would sell fine, just because it's GT and it's the only racing sim option you have on PlayStation. If Project Cars is quality, it's going to cause problems for both Forza and GT, but I think more so for GT. Just based on the fact that with what Project Cars is trying to do, like they're basically going to do the things that Forza is doing to an extent. I don't know if they're going to be doing it with the car decals and whatnot, customization, but I know they're doing it with the physics and whatnot. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think I don't want GT going anywhere. I think I'd like to see what the next game does. It could. Who knows? The next game might be as good to me as GT2 was. That's still my favorite Gran Turismo of all time. So we'll see. But I'll be honest, I'm not exactly like before I read the thing. I had no thought of Gran Turismo in my head at all. Like I don't really think about that franchise anymore.
Cool.
Just being honest.
Okay. So moving on to the next topic. There was a Shadow of Mordor contract that leaked. The information leaked out, and apparently the publisher, they sent out copies of the game to different game publishers online and stuff, or media personalities and stuff. They sent it super early to them, but with the promise that they wouldn't focus on the negatives of the game and they wouldn't show any glitches or buggy parts of the game and stuff like that. So that's some serious stuff right there, to know that this stuff actually goes on. And I want to ask you guys, how much do you think this stuff kind of goes on? Because I mean, it wasn't even just they get the game early. I think there was paid promotions too. So they were offering paid promotions to certain publications and stuff. So I want to ask you guys how much you think this actually happens in the industry. I mean, is this what the industry we're in is like?
It happens tons in the industry. This isn't the first or rare case of this happening. It's not even rare. Like they're doing it with Twitch now. Certain games are coming out now where they pay people to play the game on stream just to play it and say nothing bad about the game. And if you play it for some amount of time and say nothing bad about the game, they cut you a check. It's a new form of marketing. They don't really want to invest in advertising via like ads because no one really pays attention to ads anymore. Everyone has demonized ads. No one really watches commercials like that and really pays attention. So they figure, okay, let's get these trusted people to speak about the game in a positive light, and that'll be our advertising. It's not technically bad in terms of the intent, but it's the execution that I'd have a problem with. Like, You said they got the game early. So was the version of the game early? Was it that they got early? Was it the full retail, or was it like a version of the game that had issues and they like eventually they patched them or something?
I mean, it could be that. I mean, I do think it was the full game, like you could actually beat the game sort of thing, but maybe, it was maybe because it was early, it was buggy and they planned to fix it later or something. But that wasn't specified in the article, so I'm not too sure on that.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
reason why Halo Reach got a 10 out of 10 on the Coalition.com, you know.
Oh no.
Nah, I'm playing.
Uh, you're gonna make
I'm
us look
playing.
bad.
Allegations of mishandling here. What happened?
Nah, nothing. But
I'm just saying if the check was cut, that's somebody needs to blow the horn then.
man, I didn't get no damn check, but I should have. But that's besides the point. But I think kind of like what Mike said, this kind of happens a lot in the industry. I believe so. Uh, and it's I really can't. I'm not against it to be honest. If I'm you know honest. Uh, but yeah, I mean, why not? I don't see the problem with this. Like, it's just another form of advertising. Like, at the end of the day, that's what reviews kind of are, or that's what they hope to be. The publishers, what they hope reviews are. It's a way to sell a game, and if you put a little dollars in somebody's wallet, get them to say something good about it. You know, I think
Um,
ultimately it's the gamer who has to decide. Am I? I don't ever read I like reviews, but I don't let a review, make up my mind. Um, ultimately it's me. It's me. Like if I follow that game enough through its development and been watching the trailers and developer diaries or whatever, that's eventually I'm gonna buy that game regardless of whatever people are saying because I've built that interest.
Yeah, here's my take on it. Like, see, I watch a lot of YouTubers and stuff, and like you, I don't let other reviews and stuff influence my decisions and all that stuff. But there's some YouTubers that I follow, strictly just because I support them and stuff, and I don't want to feel like, I have to wonder if they got paid in their review for,
uh-oh.
whatever opinions they have. If they say a game's perfect or something, I don't want to feel like, oh, maybe he was paid or something like that. It just,
I
it,
thought
yeah,
I,
go ahead.
I thought the YouTubers would be getting paid in views from the people that are watching the content. Um,
No, I mean they're included in this too. It's not just sites. It's personalities. Twitch
yeah,
personalities,
yeah,
YouTube personalities, and stuff. So
that's
yeah,
Well, as
true.
I'm saying, like, I mean, that's how YouTube is, like, or all of this is. I mean, to an extent, even if they don't pay you money for their review, they're giving you the game or merchandise for free. That's
Yeah.
technically a form of payment. Like when the Xbox and PS4 launched, they went to YouTubers like and they handed them consoles to review. That's a $400, $500 console. They were just handing them to talk about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of a payment because they didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just part of the industry. It always has been.
Well, um, I think it's fully agreed upon. Everybody agrees that stuff goes on in the industry. It's not anything new. Um, to me, having played the game is solid. So I don't really think that if all of this did actually happen, it didn't need to happen. The game was good, and it was able to speak for itself. That's how all this stuff should be at the end of the day. I mean, a review is great to have an opinion and get an idea as to some things that maybe the pros and cons of the game, but ultimately, just as Ed said, yes, you make a decision to buy a game because you want the game. The review is only an opinion. I know we have had several instances in the past where we would review a game, somebody wouldn't like the score, and then they say, "Oh, well, they must have paid you guys off." Now you already know that ain't true, cause come on, son, we all got other jobs we doing. If that was the case, I think we would be well off to the point now where we would just be doing this full time. No, that's not how it is. So I'm just saying, We don't get paid from any of this stuff. This is all labor of love. Um, but getting back to that particular thing right there, yeah, I mean, I don't think that they needed to go that route because the game is good on its own.
I agree.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, maybe you guys could educate me on this, but on the contract thing, or one of the stipulations was that the people reviewing it, they had to put the most emphasis on the Nemesis system. And from someone who doesn't own the game and hasn't played it yet, that's all
yeah,
I've been hearing about. That's all I've heard about the Nemesis system. So has
yes.
that worked? Has this contract thing actually worked then? And
I
making
mean, it
people
makes
aware.
sense. The system is an extremely unique aspect to this game. Like no other game has done that. So
Hmm.
it would make sense they'd want to push that. And in all honesty, playing the game, yeah, it impacts how you play because that's why I haven't beat the game yet. It's just me. It's the Nemesis system. I will keep wanting to get revenge against people who have killed me or have ruined my plan of like getting a certain Uruk higher in society by killing them in some battle. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge. That's the Nemesis system is amazing. Running into people and they recognize you, or
Hmm.
you're about to kill them and they flee from you. Like all of that is really, really well done, and I've never seen that in a game before. That's
How does the
why,
actual recognition happen? Like when you say recognition, but how does the
oh, like
recognition happen? Like
you
what
run up
happens?
on if you run up on a captain or something, and
Yeah.
you fought the captain previously, and he either ran away from you
Mm.
or he killed you. He'll say, "Hey, haven't I killed you already? Looks like I'll have to kill you again," or something of that context. Or if he ran away from you, like, "Oh, I have my boys with me now. It won't turn out like last time." Or technically, sometimes you will think if you use like an arrow to kill someone, you'll think they die. They don't. They come back. Their body will be scarred where you hurt them. Like I've killed someone,
Yeah.
came back and their face was just really scarred up, or I've burned someone and like half their body was burned, or something like that, and they want to get revenge. Like it's really like it really works like this. Yeah, that's why you play Mordor or Shadow of Mordor. That system is what separates it from everything else. Because a lot of the other mechanics in the game are just things they've taken from like Splinter Cell, Batman Rise,
Assassin's
Assassin's
Creed.
Creed, like all these other franchises, bits and pieces from all these other franchises, and they all center around the Nemesis system, which is the core exclusive um, aspect of the game, and it works very well. I have no complaints. And apparently, it's the reason. Like I think the Nemesis system doesn't work on the 360 and PS3 version.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
a next
truly
gen only
insane.
feature. Oh,
So I
they said it's only on next gen. Um,
yeah,
I do believe that system will be getting used for other games in the future. Um,
I agree because it's amazing.
yeah, that's a guarantee.
They might throw that in Batman because it's Warner Brothers, right? So maybe they could pass
Yeah,
that
Warner
around.
Brothers produced it. Monolith is the company who did it. They're actually out here in Washington, I believe.
Oh,
So
okay.
shout out to
Okay. Oh yeah, that's where they at. Okay, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Any more thoughts on that before we move on? No.
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
So let's move on to the good stuff.
Oh,
So
here we go. Here we go.
earlier this week, EA BioWare, they sent out a tweet, or there was several news stories about it too, so it might have been a press release. They actually mentioned that they're going to be maximizing each platform for Dragon Age Inquisition. So on PS4 you're going to get 1080p resolution. On Xbox One you're going to get 900p resolution, and on PC, I mean, that's dependent on your hardware. I mean, they did release the minimum requirements and stuff too. I can't really remember them right now, but it seems pretty good. It seems well optimized. So yeah, I mean, so this with the whole Ubisoft thing that's going on in mind, what do you guys think of this? Because on one hand, you have Ubisoft who said, we want to lock the resolution of Assassin's Creed, and then you have EA BioWare who says, you know what, we're going to maximize each platform. So which company do you think has the right idea here? I'm gonna ask Michael A first.
Me personally, I go with Ubisoft just because. I mean, honestly, if the BioWare devs, and I mean, I have no reason to believe that they can't. If they can get it running, not only maxed out on each spec, but running consistently, no frames dropping, no glitches or issues or whatnot, all power to them. I'm all for it. But I understand why Ubisoft is doing it because them it's to try and maximize one piece of hardware and then with all that on PC. You already have to do that on PC. Let's just deal with that on PC, and on consoles, let's just make it where it runs great, and everyone will play a great quality version of the game. But I mean, BioWare doing this, that's fine. I'll be honest, I have zero interest in Dragon Age after Dragon Age 2. So perhaps they're just reaching out for something to kind of get the fanboys on their side again because they weren't happy with Dragon Age 2. I mean, I wasn't just because it wasn't a good game. I loved the first one, the second one. Oh my god! But I mean, yeah, honestly, if they can get it working well, hey, more power to them. That'd be great, and there won't be any complaints. People on their consoles that have that console can play the game and enjoy it to the maximum ability, I suppose. I will say this: the reason I'm happy this is happening is because I want them to do side-by-side comparisons, and then when people realize that there's not a big difference, in fact, it's negligible. It's a difference that you can't really see until you look for it. Then maybe then they'll understand why all of this is trivial, and it really doesn't matter. Like the fact that there are people who are going to buy this game just because of this news, even though they don't know if the game is going to be good or not. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It is what it is. I honestly, I hope they get it. I hope they accomplish what they're aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there because I mean, you're only gonna be able to tell the difference if you play on PC anyway. But Edward, what do you think of this?
I don't care about resolutions really, so I don't have much to say. Other than that, if BioWare is like, as a company, they're like, all about quality and stuff, if they're happy making the Xbox One version of Inquisition at 900p and knowing that other developers can make it to 1080p and 60 frames per second locked, I mean, what does that say about them? That they don't want to, put their best efforts and make the best possible game that they can. Like, they're okay with it.
You're forgetting it. It's not about that. What it's about is ensuring that the PS4 is higher resolution than the Xbox. That's all these people care about. It doesn't matter that, yes, it is possible to get that game running 1080p 60 frames per second on the Xbox One. No, they just want it where the Xbox is lower than the PS4. Because if not, there's an issue. That's why I was just kind of scoffing at it. It was like, you're saying this as if games haven't been coming out on the Xbox that are 1080p or 1080p 60 frames per second. And they have.
If somebody could do it, like, why, like, as a company, you would think that, hey, these guys are doing it, why can't we put our best foot forward and match them? And I mean, if they're okay with putting out like a lesser game than what they want to be, or what they know is best from them, then go ahead.
Well, I think that this whole resolution debate is it really is being utilized as a tool for the fanboys to have something to say, well, my console is better than yours. And really at this stage, it depends on the game, because the issue with the Assassin's Creed stuff is that, this is a game where it's a lot of stuff going on. So I thought when they said 900p, 30 frames per second, I said, all right, well, yeah, whatever. But apparently, no, that's a problem. And then I also heard Ubisoft say that they are now trying to push Far Cry 4 to be 1080p on both consoles. So that says that it is possible to, but again, it depends on the game, because this is a first-person shooter, whereas that other game is a third-person action-adventure game, and you saw all the people they had on screens in some of the videos they had. It's a lot going on in that game, so it's a different process. But to go back to Dragon Age, and I have to agree with Mike. I'm not really a fan of Dragon Age. I know Gary has said time and time again, you should get this game. I may look into Inquisition, but I don't really care about the 900p, 1080p argument. To me, people need to look at it like this. It doesn't matter if the game looks great. If there are other issues in the game, that's going to be a problem. If the game has a horrible story, oh, you think the resolution is going to make that better? No, it's not. If it has horrible gameplay, oh, but it looks beautiful on PlayStation 4. People need to look beyond just the resolution and the game itself, because the gameplay, story, all that other stuff is the content. How it looks is that's important as well, but that other stuff is people need to remember the core elements of the game. The resolution should be at the very last of what they're concerned about, because back in the day when people was playing on Nintendo and all these other systems, they wasn't worried about the resolution of the game. They was worried about playing a good game. So I think they need to get back to thinking about that type of stuff, because resolution shouldn't matter at the end of the day. But it does to some, so that's on them. For me, I don't care.
Yeah, that was well said right there. But I can assure you one thing: the story in Dragon Age won't be horrible.
No, I know.
Wait, question: how can you assure us this, Gary?
Because they have some of the best writers on that team, like, period. Even Dragon
So
Age
what happened
2.
with Dragon Age 2?
No, Dragon Age 2, the story was still good. Like, it was the main thing that was good in that game.
I can't talk to you about Dragon Age. We're just two different minds. Dragon Age 2 story was absolutely horrible.
I'm
You didn't even
serious.
go anywhere. You
Go
were one
back and
town
play
the whole game.
I mean, it wasn't as good as Origins, obviously, but it was still the driving force of that game, because the gameplay was lacking, but the story was still okay. It was, good. It carried the game.
What I'm gonna say about that is that Dragon Age, maybe it has something going for them with Origins, but just like how Prologue messed up Gran Turismo, Dragon Age 2 messed up whatever they're gonna do next. Now, 3.
Wait, you're comparing a driving game to Dragon Age?
No. I'm comparing a game that was put out with clearly it was not the final product. It wasn't what people wanted.
Look, that's EA's fault, man. EA was they're the reason why Dragon Age 2.
No one's disagreeing with you, Gary. We've had this discussion. I acknowledge that EA probably has not had the best impact on BioWare. We've seen this with 2 franchises. They've basically ruined them.
That's right.
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying still there. Yeah, like EA is not there anymore.
No, they are there, but I think they're self-aware of the mistakes they made now, and I think Dragon Age Inquisition is going to be their game to show that they've listened to the audience of not only Dragon Age but Mass Effect 2 as well. And I think that things will get better.
I'm wrong on this situation, but I don't feel that I am. That game is not going to be that good.
I actually don't agree with what Gary's saying, because in the end of it, I mean, sure, people were disappointed with Mass Effect 2 and 3, but look how those games reviewed. They got pretty damn good reviews. I mean, that I remember, they were like in the top 10 of whatever year they came out of. But why would EA have any other reason to believe that, oh, the guys didn't like it, when it's so reviewed well? So they're gonna keep doing it.
That's the problem I see with Mass Effect. It's sold well enough that EA is like, you guys are complaining, but you keep buying it. So why would we stop doing this? So sad.
Okay, well, we'll see how that turns out anyway. Rich, what was you gonna say? I'm sorry, I kept cutting you off.
No, I think enough was said about that topic. I'll have more to say about this very soon, but no, that's enough for now.
Okay, cool. And did you guys hear about the Ubisoft developer? He actually came out and said that a lot of companies are actually going to start going for 30 frames per second anyway, like as the standard, because 60 frames per second kind of looks unnatural in games.
Yeah.
I heard about this.
It's actually more close to cinematic quality. when it's 30 frames per second anyway. Just like you're gonna start seeing a lot of more games coming out with the black bars on the screen.
I'm not. I'm
People are
not.
just gonna give that a pass.
Well, I will say this. I don't have a problem with that, but I have to say the stuff I saw of Halo, because there was some footage that came out the other day, 1080p, 60 frames per second. That looks pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think for certain games, 60 frames per second is good. You know, it's needed. Like, you know, obviously driving games, fighting games, even
yeah,
shooters and stuff. You know, but I guess for these type of games, you know, like third person, you know, action, I can see their point. You know, 30 frames per second is good enough. Like, you want that cinematic feel. You want it to feel real, the movement and everything. So I see what he's saying there.
yeah, I see what he's saying too.
And I don't even see it as a problem. Like I don't know why people are so adverse to 30 frames per second for some of these genres. Like Gary said, okay, I
I think
understand why you would be mad about that for fighting games because how would you even note how many frames a move works if it's not on a 60 frame table? It'd be different, and it
I
wouldn't
think
work as well.
I really think people are reaching to find stuff to complain about and to find a way to compare both systems with the resolution and the frame rates. Um, and they figure, well, if it's 900p, it's trash, so screw that game. I'm gonna get it on 1080p. But yeah, that's what it is.
I'm still waiting to figure out how this even became the standard. Like people were acting like 720p was the standard last year. It wasn't. It really wasn't. Like the vast majority of games on all consoles were not 720p. So if
That's
people were
right.
struggling with 720p 30 frames per second last gen on consoles, and people on PCs are already telling you the specs for these new systems for PS4 and Xbox One were not as strong as you people think. They're lagging behind. They're both severely underpowered in comparison to the hardware that was available at the time. You're going to expect 1080p 60 frames per second standard? On what hardware? Why? Like, I don't understand that. Even if that's going to become the standard, it will take time. These systems have been out a little less than 1 year. We're still technically launch window. And you're expecting them to be performing as if they've been out for 4 or 5 years already? No. Look at all the other consoles. Look at the 360 and PS3 and all that. You didn't get Uncharted year one. Sorry, didn't happen. We didn't get Gears of War year one. Like, these things took time. Like, give the consoles time. Maybe eventually 1080p 60 frames per second will be standard. Will it matter? No. I mean, I'm enjoying the games I'm playing now. I didn't even know. Someone told me that Mortal was 900p on the Xbox One, and I was
Yeah.
looking at it. I was like, "Yep, don't care. Still looks gorgeous." It doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not gonna say, "Oh my God, time to delete this game off my hard drive." This sub 1080p filth. Like who lives like this? I don't understand.
Yeah,
But when I say these things, apparently I'm a hater, or I'm delusional, or I'm lying. I'm like, all right, well, while you guys are on the internet typing in your keyboards angrily, complaining about this stuff, I'm gonna actually go play video games. How about that?
Well said. That's another rant for you right there. Okay. What's that, Ed?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. So yeah, moving on from that topic. So DualShockers, they actually, you know, we talked about the Evil Within earlier, but DualShockers, they actually pulled their review of the game because, you know, the review went up and everything. They gave it a 6 out of 10, but they pulled it later on because they feel like the editor who put up the review had a lack of depth in the review and he needed to spend more time with it. So, you know, I wanted to get you guys' take on this because we've all written reviews here. You know, how do you feel about pulling a review after it's already been up, getting comments, getting hits and everything, and just being like, you know, you didn't review it well enough, go back and play it some more? Like, what do you think? And DualShockers, they're pretty big as well. So, you know, I mean, they're not up there like Kotaku, Polygon, and all that, but, you know, they're reputable. So, what do you guys think of that? Like, is that professional or not?
Um, I was thinking about it. I was looking ahead at the thing, and I thought, like, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But then after you started saying it or reading it out loud, then I kind of do. Um, I don't. It all depends on how or what you expect a reviewer. What you expect from a reviewer. Do you expect him to beat the game completely? Do you expect him to play enough just to get a hindsight of what the game is about and all that? It just all depends. I don't believe a reviewer needs to finish a game, but that's just me. You might expect something different. Um, and I guess opinions do change. Maybe sometimes you don't like a game at first, but then you do. I mean, it happened with me in Destiny. I love the way that game started, but then it just kind of got ugh. So, but then again, that would be on me to for not spending much time on it. Um, so I don't know how I really do feel about it. I guess at the end of the day, I mean, they're doing the right thing because they're pulling a review that wasn't, I guess, fair. Um, didn't give the game a fair chance or whatever. But this is why I loved getting reviews before embargo because I used to love when like I would post a review at 12 a.m. When the embargo was up, and then I would compare my score and what I said with what somebody else said, and then we would agree on stuff, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm not fucking crazy, and I'm not alone in my troubles or what I liked about it. But I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I can't blame DualShock because they took their what they thought was a review that lacked, a good opinion or a justified opinion, and if they redo it, they redo it.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what?
That's a cool
Honestly,
stance
oh,
on it.
all right, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, honestly, I respect them for that. It took gall to do that. It's never easy for any site really to admit that they were or may have been wrong. Um, for them to look at the review and say, okay, this person lacked depth and a deep analysis of it. I don't know if it was because of fan outcry or if it was because other people on the site had played the game and they weren't fond of what he was saying in the review. Regardless, I respect that they were not too pious or not pious, too proud to look back and say, okay, I made a mistake. Let me own up on that and make a change. Like I don't know if they're gonna post another review because they could have easily said all the damage done is done. Who cares? Or they could have been like other sites where even though they were wrong and they were proven to be wrong, they kept arguing anyway for the sake of arguing and then getting other people with them to argue the same arguments they're making just because and blocking any sort of dissent so they can exist in an echo chamber. But instead of doing that, they said, okay, we may or may not have made a mistake. Let's address this head on. Now, with reviews, it's a little iffy because technically, though reviews are supposed to be as objective as possible, the reviewer, I don't know, I haven't read the guy's review or the woman's review, so I don't really know. But they may have honestly felt that way playing the game. Who knows? I don't know how much of the game they played or whatnot. But still, it'd be nice to see this more often from sites, not the whole pulling review thing or whatnot. But, let's say you write a review on a game, and then it's like 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. And then you play the game more, and you're like, you know what? This game isn't that bad. It has staying power, it has replayability. It improves the more time you put into it. The DLC that's come out in the future for it was amazing. I don't feel this is a 6 or 7 out of 10 anymore. I think it's maybe an 8. You can review the game later or add an update to said review or whatnot. Like, things like that in gaming should be standard, and they really aren't. I don't know why that is, actually. I've always kind of wondered that.
Yeah,
But,
I gotta agree with you on that because that's happened to me a lot. Like, I'll review a game, and because I feel like I have to be critical of the game, when I'm playing it initially, my score ends up, it might end up like a 7 or 6 or something like that. But then I'll play the game more after my review, just as a normal gamer, basically, not looking to critique it or anything, just enjoying it. And then I start to think, yo, this game's a lot better than, what I said in the review. So that does happen. I feel you on that. Rich, you're editor-in-chief. What's your stance on it?
Well, actually, while I agree with a lot of the stuff that was said, I actually disagree with the practice of what was done. I think, obviously, sometimes when we get games, us included, you don't necessarily get it within a time frame that you would want to actually have a review done. There have been many times we would get a game like the day before it's supposed to come out, and then we would feel the need to have to try and review or try and get as many thoughts as possible to really talk about some stuff. What I think they should have done, and a lot of sites have done this in the past. Well, if you know that you're not going to have a review done because you didn't have enough time, take the time to actually play the game. If you need to have something go up at that specific time, maybe make it an impressions or a preview piece instead of a review. Because, I'll just case in point, there are several sites. Some of the bigger sites do this. If they don't have a game early, which is a very rare thing, but sometimes some games that are multiplayer, they require servers and stuff. So it's a different process. But what my thing is that, have to get out of the mindset of we got to get up immediately if there is not enough time. And I mean, it depends on the situation. It depends on the game. If somebody gets Skyrim sent to them and they get it sent to them a day before the review, the embargo drops, well, obviously they're not going to have a review done for that. But I just think that at the end of the day, I will not tell a site how they should run things. But if it was me, I would have said, well, can we have an impressions piece, mention in the piece that we have a review that is coming, and then drop that review out whenever the person has completed the game, if they need to complete it, or they have formed an opinion as to what they want to talk about, the pros and the cons in the game. Because, I mean, really, that is pretty much, I think that's how it should be done. Pulling the review at the last second, that will draw more attention to the site than what was needed in the first place. And while it is good to do it if you think something's wrong, I just say, well, avoid that altogether by taking your time and reviewing the game. Meaning, what is the urgency of getting it up that quick? If you didn't have enough time to review it, then take the time to review it. That's just plain and simple. At least that's how I would do it.
You gotta get those hits though, Rich. Remember?
Well, no. You do need to get the hits. But what I was saying is, they can maybe put a previews or impressions piece, at the most if they can't review it.
Actually, I was just joking. I do like the impressions idea though. That makes sense because then you can even gauge how their initial impressions may or may not have changed in the final review.
Oh yeah, because when, just to give an example, a game like Destiny, this is a game that a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions, and then of course they said themselves, once you beat the game, you get to level 20, that's when the game is supposed to start. So that means this is a game where you can constantly have conversations about over the course of time. Every time there's new DLC or other stuff. So really, there is no real way to review that game. It's like you have to keep talking about it when other stuff is updated anyway. So it's just a different process depending upon what the game is. But I would say if it's a massive game like that or any MMO game, then you're going to need a lot more time than what you're given. And a lot of times PR will send you a game a day before it's supposed to come out, or sometimes early. When it's sent early, well, and you have enough time, well, obviously, yeah, you have enough time to review it, then yeah. But if not, then you got to improvise and think of other ways to get coverage off it if you can't have a review. So the previews will be the next best thing. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I fully 100% agree with Richard, and I think one of the biggest faults here is it's a fault of everybody too. Like, there's too much emphasis put on the word review, and then of course the review score. Like, there's other ways to educate your audience on what the game is like. So it doesn't always have to be a review if you don't have enough time to review it. Initially. You can put out videos, you can do quick looks, you can do impressions, or there's tons of creative ways you can think of to show the content of the game to your audience. It doesn't have to be a review on day one embargo, So I definitely agree with what Rich is saying now.
Yeah.
But Yeah. Speaking of reviews,
Uh-oh.
Polygon. Polygon was, they were talked about a lot this week because, their review of Bayonetta was very controversial. Now, firstly, let me just say congrats to Nintendo because Bayonetta 2 reviewed really well across the board. There's tens, there's 5 out of 5s and everything, so congrats to them.
I told
But
you so.
Yeah.
okay, real quick, Ed has to go, so peace out, Ed. But
All
yeah,
right, peace out. Good to be here. I'll be back 100 episode. Shoot.
Peace out,
Sounds
Ed.
good.
all right, peace. So yeah, Polygon. I didn't actually read the review. I didn't really have much time this week. I would have liked to though, but I don't know if you guys did. But their review was basically, centered on the actual appearance of the Bayonetta character, more than the game itself. And it seems like, I don't know if their score or something kind of reflected their, negative viewpoint on the character. So I wanted to ask you guys how you feel about that. Like, should the review be based on what you think of a Bayonetta's appearance, or should it be on the actual gameplay, the actual game itself?
That
And
that is even a question. That we are at a point now that there's a question of whether or not how a character looks or the game itself is important for discussion in the review is a problem.
okay, before you
That
answer though, I just want to say one thing. I'm not saying I agree, but
no, no, I know you don't agree. You're being objective. You're the host.
yeah,
I
exactly.
wasn't when I was saying that. I wasn't saying, "Oh, how dare you, Gary." I was saying, why are we at this point now when people feel a right to stand on a soapbox and put their social or political worldviews on display in a review? I didn't I want to know about Bayonetta 2. I don't want to know about your views on gender equality and sexism. Not saying that they're not important. What I'm saying is they're your views. You have a right to your views. I'm not taking that right away from you. That is not the avenue for those views. That's an avenue for you to talk about the game because that's what a review is, the review of a game. That'd be like me reviewing a car. And instead of talking about how the car works and how it functions, I talk about, now let me explain to you why you are a communist if you buy this game or this car. Like, who would read that review? That doesn't make any sense. It's like, no, I just want the details. Gas mileage. Does it what kind of sound system is inside the car? Transition, all that kind of stuff. Nope, nope. Gonna tell you about why you're a communist if you buy this game, or the beauties of communism, and shame for you buying this car. You are a capitalist pig. No, that's
Oh,
not
well,
why people read reviews for products. Why are we doing this in games now? This game, in the review, they're like, yeah, the gameplay is great. So let's talk about how Bayonetta looks. I'm like, what? No. Why does that matter? You can
Wait, they
change her
actually said that?
costume. Like, not verbatim, but that's the context of it. It's more of they dismiss and downplay the actual, gameplay experience and mechanics. All of that, which is great, by the way, according to the reviews. And for my friends who played it, I have not played Bayonetta 2 yet. I mean, it's not out in America, to my knowledge. Or did it just drop?
I think it just
I know it's
dropped.
been out in Japan. So yeah, it probably just dropped here. So I will be copying that soon because I'm waiting on a Wii. I want to get my Wii U when Smash drops in November. So
Yeah.
the 2 games I'm getting when I'm walking out that store. But I'm just saying, the 2 games I'm getting on that console. Both of them are exclusives, by the way, Garrett. Anyway,
Wait, there's two
I
games?
don't want to hear. I'm just saying. I'm Smash Brothers and Bayonetta, both exclusives on the Wii U. I'm walking out with them. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, so
Anyway,
there's two
to
games
me,
now. Okay.
oh, you're okay. Real sly, Gary. Nice. Anyway, it's troubling to me that that's even an issue. And I don't get it. Like all those same people that reviewed Lara Croft and praised it, where was the criticisms like, well, let me tell you why if you enjoy Lara Croft, you're racist. Because there's no black men characters that are heroes in this game. So this game does not represent minorities properly. You're racist.
Yes.
Or or the people who made the game are racist. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't judge people based on a product they make. It's a product they made. The person who conceptualized and created Bayonetta is a woman. You're telling me that a woman, and I'm not saying, oh, because a woman does it, it's right. No. I'm saying you're telling me that a woman came up with a character who is both powerful and sexy, and somehow that is sexist. You're telling me that for a woman to create a character that is powerful and sexist or sexy, that the character is then sexist. How does that make any sense? What message are you sending to women that want to write or create anything? That as a woman, you aren't allowed to do this? No, they should have the same freedom that men should have. They should be able to create whatever they want to create for whatever reasons they want to create it. It's silly. In addition to that, it doesn't make any sense because it doesn't affect the gameplay. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about this if Bayonetta 2's gameplay was garbage. Because at the end of the day, if the gameplay is garbage, you can say what the heck you want about how she looks, but the gameplay clearly isn't garbage. No one has come out and said anything. Everyone that's come out and reviewed this game says it's a great game. But one site has to be that site that's like, yeah, this game is sexist because of how she looks. And it's not even like, how does she look? She's an attractive woman. So because she's an attractive woman that knows she's attractive and yet still beats the crap out of all the people she's fighting, it's sexist. Let's talk about the fact that all the men in that game are getting the crap kicked out of them. Let's talk about that. No, that's not important.
Yeah, that's not important.
I don't understand. And when I ask this, no one can give me a concrete rebuttal to it. It's always something about, oh, well, you don't understand the perspective of women and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, well, A, like, how am I going to argue with that? I'm not a woman. How would I understand a woman's perspective? And B, you can't speak for all women anyway. There are women that like Bayonetta. There are women that worked and made the character. I just told you a woman created the character. So, like, how is this sexist? I don't get it. Why is that even something to bring up? I'm not even slandering them. I'm not even slamming Polygon or whoever wrote the review. I forgot the author's name. They have a right to feel that way, and that's fine. But when it comes to a review, I don't want your feelings on how a character looks. I don't want your feelings of how the world should work in a video game review. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the information on the game. I'm not even asking you to tell me if I should buy it. Give me the information so I can make a conscious decision on my own whether or not to buy it. Information about a game is things as trivial as even like frame rate and resolution, to loading times, to approximate time to play to beat the game, amount of content. That's what I want. I don't want, okay, here's what I think about this game in terms of feminism or sexism or gender equality. Like, no, that's not what I'm there for. You could do that in an editorial. In an editorial, that would be 100% okay, because that's what you're doing. In an editorial, you express how you feel on a topic. In a review, you're not doing that. In a review, you're trying your darndest. I know you're not going to succeed because you're human, but you're trying your darndest to be objective when presenting information about a product. That's what a review is. Again, this is probably why people are saying that these gaming journalists aren't journalists, because this is basic information and they don't understand it, along with all the other crap that's been going on in gaming nowadays. This is just more information. This is just more fuel to the fire. And it's funny, people think all this stuff is going to go away. It's only going to keep spreading if sites keep doing stuff like this. Like, I'm still, people already forgot, but remember the hoopla they had out with Smash Brothers because they said Zero Suit Samus, the way she presented is sexist because she's wearing high heels. She's wearing high heel boots because the heel part is literally like a jet, so she can jump higher. She's wearing high heel boots that look like stripper boots, and that's sexist. The woman is completely covered up. You can't see anything on her. Yeah, she's an attractive woman. So what? She's a powerful woman too. Like, she's the most powerful bounty hunter in her cosmos. She's wearing high heels. Smash Brothers is sexist. What? What? That doesn't even make any sense. What are you talking about? That's where we are in gaming now. I don't even 10 years from now, if things keep progressing the way they are, 10 years from now, will I be playing video games? I honestly don't know. Because it won't be fun anymore.
Yeah, it's starting to get.
And I never thought I'd say that.
It's not fun now, to be honest.
It's starting to get to the point where it's just not fun.
About all this Gamergate stuff, like it really annoys me.
Well, this is why you have to just play games. Don't be, going on the internet. Don't get caught up in Twitter feeds and stuff like that. Just play the game and tune that
But I
stuff
mean,
out.
to it is. I mean, you already know. Rich, I agree with you on that. Like, people do
Yeah,
need to, like, people in gaming need to start spending more time actually gaming. That's everyone on all consoles, platforms, whatever side you are on the whole gamer game. Whatever, people need to just be sitting down and playing more games. I think people are just. That's probably why people are getting out of touch and getting so defensive on the internet, because they're not spending time enjoying a hobby. They're spending more of their time defending it or saying what it should be in their mind, in their eyes. And I think we need to go away from that and go back to actually game. But to an
yeah.
extent, I can understand why some of these people are doing this, because when you see the things they're saying, or you see the way they're trying to portray one side of the argument, it's not fair. And I don't
That's,
mean that in a way, a juvenile way of saying the world isn't fair. I mean, it's not fair in that you're trying to make a case for being the quote-unquote good guy, but you're doing the same thing you're accusing your other side of doing, and you just hide it. To me, I don't know. That's just shady to me. All of this is nonsense. I just want to play games, man. I just want to play quality games. I want to have fun. I want to have discussions about games, because people forget gaming is supposed to be a place where it doesn't matter what you are, where you're from, no. If you play, we have something in common. If you're good, I want you on my team. If you suck, I don't. All that other stuff doesn't matter. I've played Halo. I've picked girls to be on my team over guys. Do you know why? Because they were better than them. They were better teammates, and I could win with them. So I was like, yeah, I want you on my team. And what happened? I won. That's how gaming works. People don't care. They want the W. But now it's like, I don't know. Now we're just going to talk about what makes people and what they are as gamers, instead of just saying, do you play video games? Yes? Okay. That's something we have in common. Forget all the other stuff in the rest of the world that we don't have in common and we fight about. We have gaming at least in common. Let's talk about gaming. But we can't do that anymore. And every time I ask people why, it's because, gaming is moving forward, it's progressing. I don't see how something is moving forward when you can do less in the medium than you could before. How are we moving forward? When we're trying to limit what people can and can say, or can and can't make or create in a game, or can and can't do in a video game. How is that progress? That's progression. That's the complete antithesis of it. And yet you're telling me it's progression. It's maturing. How is it maturing when a medium that is more capable than any medium before it is being more restricted than the other ones? For no reason. There's no empirical evidence to show that gaming causes any of these things they're saying it does, and yet it's being held to that. It's depressing, really. And
Do you think there's an element of brainwashing going on? Because some people believe that,
what do you mean? What do you mean by brainwashing?
these the media outlets and this whole sexism thing is something to kind of brainwash, because a lot of the actual developers and publishers and stuff, they're actually making changes to the game so that they're less sexist and stuff. So
You know
a lot
what?
of people
Yeah,
are
in
saying
that
that this
context,
whole
I see
thing
what you're
is
saying.
brainwashing method for gamers because for years gamers have been enjoying content that's pretty free, pretty much free content, not free as in cost, but like free as in creativity and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I hear.
Whereas movies, a lot of movies are manipulated and restricted and stuff like that. So is this a way to
Yes.
brainwash gamers and stuff, basically?
I mean, I honestly don't know the answer to that. I will say this. It's not a coincidence that you're seeing the same articles coming up from the same conglomerate of sites, the same 10, 20 sites that post pretty much on the same day within hours of each other. Like, that's not a conspiracy-minded person or something. That's a fact. Like, that's what's happening. The same that not to go back and dwell on it. Remember that whole death to gamer craze that happened? All those sites posted that crap within 1 or 2 days of each other, sometime at the same damn time. That's a collective movement. They are trying. I'm not going to say they as in some like abstract entity. No. People, if you're following all this stuff, you know who they is. It's a very specific group of people in the industry that talk to each other behind closed doors and have relations that they probably shouldn't with people in the industry, which makes it impossible for them to have any type of integrity as journalists. But I mean, Really, is that shocking to anyone after reading reviews like the one we just read for Bayonetta? That's not shocking to me anymore. These people come together. They have their views, and I'm not even saying that their views are right or wrong. I have no opinion on their views because I'm of the belief that I don't really care what you do as long as you don't interfere with my life. Do what you do and be happy. But they come together and have their echo chamber where it's only people that think like them, and they don't like dissent, and they push articles out like this over and over again at the same time. It's like a strategic movement almost. Would I go as far to say they're trying to brainwash us? No, I don't. I can't say that. I don't have evidence for that, and I just don't. I think brainwashing might be too strong of a word. Do I think there's an agenda being pushed? Do I think there's a narrative trying to be pushed? Do I think there's a change trying to be made to gaming from a collective? Yes, and there's evidence of that. Like, that's not crazy talk. There's evidence of it. You just have to look it up. Do I think that's a bad thing? Yes. There shouldn't be any one secular voice or one secular group of people that controls gaming. If gaming is supposed to be for everyone, let it be for everyone. Don't silence certain people's voices. Let everyone have a voice, good or bad, intelligent or stupid. Doesn't matter. Let them have that voice. Because where gaming is now, that's not the case. How many articles are being posted on big sites that just disallow comments? You can't even comment. You can't comment on a video from some people. You can't comment on an article from some people. You post an article, a thread on Reddit or somewhere, it gets deleted without any explanation. There's no conversation. There's no dissent. Either agree with us or you are scum. That is a problem. Any movement, any notion that cannot stand to dissent is not worthy of existing. Flat out. So yeah, I'm not going to say that there's brainwashing going along, but there's clearly a bias. And anyone who agrees with that, I mean, I don't know how you can look at the same things I've been seeing, and not even as recent. Like, if you listen to me, a lot of these things I've been saying about games, I've been saying for years. It's just now coming to light. Yeah, it's not new. It's pretty obvious, and I don't see how no one else would recognize it. It's sad, really. But I'm not going to call them brainwashing. I don't think they're Nazis or anything. I'm not going to be as crazy to compare them to groups of ISIS like they did gamers. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, there's a bias agenda being pushed. I don't know why.
Okay, Richard, what do you think about it?
Well, there was quite a bit said about the topic that you both already spoke on. To get back to what you was asking about the character, didn't this argument come up with how they designed Cole in Infamous 2? And people was complaining about that design, and it caused them to change the character design because they wanted him to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, people are having a. Oh, go ahead.
I think with that, it's like, yeah, there was a backlash, but the backlash was really from the fans and stuff. Whereas this is like, the actual, it's a media outlet that's, and it's a review as well. But yeah, carry on with what you were saying though, because I want to see where you're going with it.
Oh no, I no. Well, what I'm getting at is that it's yeah, I mean they're supposed to focus on the actual content within the review, taking it beyond the other things, addressing the social issues and stuff. I mean, if they really wanted to address that type of stuff, but perhaps that could have been a separate article, different from the review altogether. I didn't read the review. I don't know what all they said. I know that there was some comments that was said that was a little like there's some a lot of objectifying women. I don't really know all the details with that particular topic. What I do know is that it's just that how they decide to do their business when it comes to reviews. I guess that's on them, but I just don't agree with how they went about that whole process, because they need to remember, talk about the game. You don't dive into stuff with the character and trying to take it a little bit further into some other type of social things. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I sit down and play a game, to me, that is an escape from all the other stuff that's going on outside of the game itself. There's enough drama that you deal with every day, day in and day in and day out. So I don't want to sit down and play a game and get caught up in thinking about these type of issues relating to the stuff that they're talking about. I'm just trying to enjoy the game, the experience for what it is, and give feedback on whether or not I enjoyed it, what I liked and disliked about the game. But when they take it to this level where they're now going into deeper issues, it's like, okay, it's just a game, bro. Need to relax, play the game, keep it at that, talk about the criticisms. But, I don't really know. Again, I didn't read the review. I don't go to that site because, I look at the site every now and again, but I don't really read their reviews because they've been on a roll so far with the reviews they've been putting out there, where they will talk about certain games, they will give it a very, very, very low score. And I'm thinking to myself, take for example a game like The Last of Us. They gave that game a 7. Just about everybody would agree. Come on now, that damn well that game way better than a 7. So once I saw that, I was done with going to the site regularly. So I don't know what all they said in the review itself, but I just it's a very, very touchy issue, touchy subject for some. How this relates to all that's going on now in the industry, I don't know. It is horrible. It's just very, very distracting, and I think that there's a lot of things that others should be focusing on, like the actual games. Now, I would hope that in the next couple of months, all these games coming out, this can keep people focused on the games and not so much on the other issues that, trying to take this thing further. And I know that there was a lot of people that spoke out about, when there were those that had death threats against them. That was just absolutely horrible. It's disgusting for those that made the death threats. And then those that will look at gamers and label them a certain way. Well, my thing is this, though. I don't hold stock in what anybody says unless they are talking about me directly. And when I say me directly, they're saying, Richard, you're this, that, or other. Then that's when I'm going to say something. I'm not going to listen to them talk about all gamers, and then I got to go out there and say something to say, no, you're wrong. I don't feel I need to do that because no matter what you think, you're not going to please everybody. There's always going to be somebody out there that doesn't care for you. Even if you tell them about how you feel, they don't care anyway. So why would I waste my breath saying anything to any of them? My mindset is, unless somebody says something to me directly and it impacts me directly, then and only then will I go out and say something and be like, okay. But other than that, I'm just not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let them be wrong, and I can think bad things about them too. They won't be able to defend that either. So, but like I said, that's just my own personal views. It's horrible, all the stuff that's going on. Yeah, I'm proud for those that stood up and said something about it when they felt things were wrong. But overall, it's just, I have like just like a lot of people, I have a lot of stuff going on now, so I'm not putting my whole life into what's going on with this particular topic. It's just there's always something going on. Just unfortunate that right now there's a lot of stuff going on with this particular drama, this issue, Gamergate, etc. A lot of stuff. But for the most part, yes, with the review, it should just be about the content. Shouldn't be taking it further into whether it's about issues of sexuality, all this other stuff. I mean, they don't need to go that far in the review. If they want to write a separate article where they dive into social aspects, then they can do that perhaps. But never should that ever come into the equation when you are reviewing a game and then docking points because it has these things in it. I don't know if that really should be done, in my personal opinion. Because that is like how someone personally feels about the game. Everybody's not going to feel that same way about it, obviously, because you saw the scores the game got. But that's just my thoughts on it. Did not want to go on no rants, but that's my thoughts on it.
Oh no, that was excellent, and I think all three of us are in unison here, and saying that it should be about the games. You know, that's what we're here for. That's why we're on this podcast right now. You know, we love the games. You know, and
Yeah.
these social issues, they just don't need to be there. And every time, you know, it feels like this whole Gamergate sexism thing is dying down. It's like a few things happen and then it pops back up and it's, you know, all in the main focus, and it's taking away from the actual games, because this is a big game for Nintendo. You know, Bayonetta 2 is receiving, you know, 10 out of 10s, 5 out of 5s and all sorts. It's a good time for, you know, Nintendo and the Wii U, but now, you know, some of that hype is kind of being diverted to this issue. So, you know, that's never a good thing. So
I agree.
yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, that sums it up pretty much. So that's all our topics for this week. That's episode 95 of the Co-op Podcast.
Wait,
So, yeah, go ahead.
wait a quick second. I know you said that's all the topics.
Uh-huh.
There's one final thing that we should discuss. Maybe
What's
about 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
You must talk about what was announced today with the sales. With
Oh,
the
yeah,
PlayStation 4 outselling the Xbox One in September.
Definitely.
Yes, because that's a big deal. Supposedly, it's a very questionable thing.
Yep. So pretty much, well, they were talking like the Xbox One was gonna outsell the PS4, but the PS4 actually outsold the Xbox One. But interestingly, Destiny actually sold more copies. You know, besides except from the bundles and stuff. You know, it sold more on the Xbox One than it did on the PS4. So that's pretty interesting.
I don't understand.
What's
I
it,
don't
what?
understand. They have the Destiny runs better on PS4. They have exclusive content, and yet more people in the Xbox One bought Destiny than PS4. I mean, excluding bundles, but even with that, it's like, why are there so why is the gap that close? There are more PS4s in America than Xbox Ones, millions more. So it shouldn't even be close. They should have just blew. Destiny should have sold like 500,000 on Xbox One and damn near 10 million on PS4. Okay, well that's exaggerating, not 10 million, but maybe like a good 6 million. Why isn't that the case? Why is it this close?
I mean, could you say though that maybe the reason the PS4 outsold the Xbox One is because of those bundles? So those people would have been getting Destiny anyway, and you know that's excluded from those numbers.
You forgot something.
I think PS4. I don't know actually. That's a good question.
You forgot something, Gary.
What's that?
The bundles, the white PS4. So that probably played a factor as well, because a lot of people want their white PS4. You know, that probably played a factor into that. But for the Xbox version of Destiny to outsell, I find that to be very interesting, because you would think, well, if that outsold, then that obviously means that the Xbox One outsold. But no, it didn't. I do know that the bundling package, when they bundled the copies, that probably is, I don't know if you would include them numbers in there as well. Because you know they had the free game you get when you get an Xbox One, and it was
an Xbox One. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that played into that. Maybe it did. One quick thing I will say is that, you know, because I know that there's going to be some questions about a lot of things pertaining to Microsoft. I feel bad that Horizon came out the last day of September, so therefore it's going to look like that didn't sell. Yeah.
You won't see I think that's going to do solid numbers for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
October. I think October and November especially are going to be their months. I don't know why everyone thought it was going to be this month. I don't get it.
Oh no, November definitely. November is a guarantee. The Halo right at the beginning of the month. So,
and for me, it's like, I don't know. The sales, I mean, they haven't even made sense. They're just interesting to me. Like how Xbox outsold PS4, and was it UK or just Europe? I think it was just UK when FIFA 15 dropped. I'm like, why? I don't understand that. Like, there's more people with PS4s there already, I believe. Why are everyone just going to go buy Xbox Ones for FIFA? I forgot about the FIFA Legends mode that's exclusive to the
Yeah.
Xbox One. Maybe I don't know. So yeah, I mean it's good news. I mean neither system is struggling to sell. They're doing well. Wii U, Nintendo's making more money because I don't know if you guys read about this. Smash Brothers has only been like the numbers for 2 day sales of Smash Brothers in America, 704,000 copies sold in 2 days.
Wow. On 3DS.
Yes, and 3D, and they already said 3DS sales
Now,
have increased again
but you
in
know what?
America alone. It was at 2 point something million in Japan already.
But you know what? Now that you said that, now I have to ask you a question. Do you
Okay.
think that that is going to impact the people that would stop people from buying it on Wii U now if they bought it on 3DS?
Not a chance, because Nintendo's handled it well. At first, I thought that too, but they've already come out and said the true experience of Smash is going to be on the Wii U. Like they're basically saying the game's just going to be better. In addition, the competitive scene for Smash is not going to play Smash on a 3DS at Evo or any of these other tournaments or Apex or whatnot. They're going to play it on the Wii U. That's going to be a big seller for them this holiday season, and it came out at the right time. November, but literally, like you called it, Rich, actually 2 weeks ago, right before Black Friday, I believe. So while the game itself might not be cheaper, who knows? You're going to be able to find Wii U bundles on Black Friday. So people are going to cop that and then get the game. It was very well thought out by Nintendo America. I give them props for that. So I mean, I think this holiday season is going to go well for all three companies, honestly, and that's good. I want all three companies to do well, so I expect them to all do well. I mean, I don't really know what selling point Sony has in terms of games this holiday season.
Drive Club. But Gary said he copied.
But the reason I think isn't Order coming out like February, or is that January?
That's February.
So, I mean, that's early enough. People might just get a PS4 holiday season for the Order, because that's a big game coming early next year.
See, here's the thing. Microsoft is going to be in trouble in the beginning of the 2015 because they got Bloodborne and the Order coming out the same month. So Microsoft.
So February is basically Sony's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I was even saying, like, why not just push back Sunset Overdrive to next year? You already have Halo in November. You're fine. You're fine for the end of the year. You have Halo Master Chief Collection. That's millions in the bank already. You're already seeing money in your bank. Put Sunset Overdrive out sometime next year. Maybe not February. Actually, no. I think it can hang in February with both of those games. But I would have put it out January, like late January, Sunset Overdrive. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because I mean, no game is going to suffer from extended development time. So the game would possibly have been even better. Who knows? But anyway, I do think all three consoles are going to do and even the 3DS, which is already eating, it's just printing money. I think they're all going to do well this holiday season, and that's good for the industry. So
yeah, definitely good for the industry. So, any more thoughts on that before we wrap up?
Oh no, I think you summed it up nicely. Unless you had something to add.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've never been big on MPD sales because it affects North America, and it's always interesting, of course, to see the sales and everything to see what's going on. But sales never really interest me that much personally.
Uh-oh. That's interesting. That's interesting to hear.
You play games, not numbers, so that makes sense.
Yes.
The only reason I think about sales is because I just want to even if I joke around about it, I don't want to see so companies is doing poorly, because I saw that with the Dreamcast, and then the Dreamcast didn't survive in America, and that's my favorite system of all time. So I prefer competition. I want the system to remain.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
in hindsight, it's not like I'm going to buy a game because millions of other people buy it. I'm going to buy it because it's good. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if the console I bought was, doing poorly in sales, then yeah, I'd be more concerned. But, from what I can tell, like you said, all of the platforms are doing pretty well. So I have really nothing to say. It's just, it is what it is at this point. So, yeah. So that's episode 95 of the Co-op podcast. In 5 more weeks or so, we're going to have episode 100, and hopefully that's going to be a big deal. We're going to try to get some some names back on the show, like Anthony Frazier and Edward Velasquez, of course. So look out for that. Um, you guys got any final thoughts, Richard?
Yeah, my only final thought is hope everybody is enjoying the games that are out, or rather coming out. And yeah, just to focus on the games. Don't get caught up in the controversy. Yes, there's a lot of dirty stuff that happens in every industry. But you need to remember, if you a gamer or you just playing games, then yeah, focus on the games and have conversations about that stuff rather than the other stuff. I mean, you can have the other stuff if you feel like you need to talk about it, but I don't think it's necessary to have that conversation every single day when we can be talking about this game. Was it good? Was it bad? How can they improve? There's a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and there's more than enough to talk about with all the games out. So I would say people should just focus on playing, having fun, and talking about the actual medium itself rather than the people who are behind it in a negative light. But that's my thought.
Okay, Michael A.
My thought is basically just play games, people. Like, go have fun, go play games, talk about games with your friends. Be civil. And with the Gamergate thing, and all that, I will say this: regardless of on the what side you're on, respect people. And what I mean by that is, no, like, stop with the silly stuff, man. Like, the death threats aren't cool. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a crime. Like, don't be that person. You're not helping anyone doing that. Don't be that person. Don't cross that line. If you really want to prove someone wrong on something, try and do so with rational debate. Try to use logic. Try to use words. Do not be that person that's sending death threats to someone or falsifying images or doing any of this other juvenile delinquent nonsense. Like, just cut that out on both sides. Stop doxing people. Stop lying. Like, just stop all of that and engage in conversation or abstain from it. But don't be the person that's making your side look bad because you are literally the living epitome of all the nonsense they're speaking of. Don't be that. Don't be that person. And I'm not saying that one side is doing that more than the other. I'm saying both sides. Like, just cut it out and be respectful and civil, man. Like, you can disagree with someone and still respect them as a human being. And I think that's part of the problem as well. And that's the problem on both sides of the coin. It's no one side is more guilty than the other.
Cool. All right, so that's the show for this week. Tune in next week. I'm Gary Swaby. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.